Okay. I guess before we
All right.
get officially started, I should go pee.
Okay, that's probably a good idea.
I
Yeah.
Does anyone want to watch? Or
Mm,
no,
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 it's
you're
okay.
gonna pass on.
I don't have enough money for that.
Sometimes I give freebies. Well, don't think I didn't experience that. The guys used
Of
to piss on
course.
each other in the tubs at the mine shaft, and guess who was there measuring the flow?
You were?
Yeah, I have had my
Oh,
moments.
all
They
right.
performed for me.
That's great. Where was this?
The mine shaft, you know where the meat packing
Oh, yeah,
district?
yeah, definitely.
There was a place called the mine shaft,
Okay.
which I thought was funny. And I was invited there a couple of times. My friend wouldn't come. They were all afraid.
Oh, please.
Sissy fucks.
I run a show called Tales from the Strip. It's a monthly storytelling show, but I'm starting to branch out outside of the performance of the storytelling and starting to collect stories from people who've been a part of the sex industry. And I just want to hear stories and your favorite parts of it, maybe your story, and just collect it for an archive and for a larger project.
Okay, so
Of-
just let it
yeah,
rip. In other
just let
words.
it rip. I want to hear your story. So tell me about yourself. Your name is Rosie Ripper.
My name, my real name,
Yes.
my birth name, Rosa Maria Continelli.
All right.
Yes,
Rosa Maria.
we come from the Lower East Side, as you might imagine, and they moved to Brooklyn. That's the suburbs. And then I escaped and moved to the village. See, and then Morgan reversed the trend and moved back to the Lower East Side. And he lives in Chinatown. So we are true New Yorkers,
Uh-huh.
and we know everything, and life is beautiful. Okay, me, you want to know about me?
I do. I want to know
The
about you.
best of times and the worst of times. Grew up in Brooklyn in the 50s, the best of times, to be a kid, to be a New Yorker, when Broadway shows were wonderful, cars were beautiful, men wore hats to the baseball game, the Dodgers were great. It was, and then at the end of the 50s came the birth of rock and roll.
Yeah.
This was a great time to be a teenager.
Yeah, I bet.
Okay, so I did it all. And then came the glorious 60s.
Yeah.
And I got married to his father, who was a nice guy.
Okay.
Okay. And he agreed to live in the village because I wasn't going to spend the rest of my life in Borough Park, Brooklyn. So we moved to the best of all streets in Greenwich Village, Christopher Street.
Oh, right.
Life is gay, life is sweet, interesting people on Christopher Street. Okay, so for 10 years, Francis and I played hippies, did all the things that you're supposed to do. Went to Hare Krishna, Woodstock, went to Russia. We did a whole lot of interesting things during the 60s. That was a great time to be young.
I bet.
And living in the village with your best friend.
I bet.
Okay, it was great. And then time does what it does. The river moves on and came into my life experience my son. And and he came in just as the 60s are out. And now it's the 70s. The 70s are different, harsher. I didn't like disco.
No.
It was not my thing. I didn't like militancy. I was still into putting flowers in the barrels of guns and that hippie shit. So the 70s were good for sitcoms. And it was also the time of gay liberation.
Yeah.
Now, of course, I lived 2 blocks from Stonewall.
Yeah, you lived in the epicenter of it.
What?
You lived in the center of it all.
In the center?
Yeah.
I remember Morgan was in his crib. Francis was there. We had the TV. They said there were riots on Christopher Street. So I said to Francis, take care of the baby. I'm going to go check it out. Went down and they were doing the uprising on Christopher Street at, what is that place? The Stonewall.
Stonewall.
So I was there at the interesting times. Yeah. I'm like Forrest Gump. You find me at interesting points in time. So the 70s came and life changed. And Francis and I decided we weren't going to be married anymore. So I got divorced, in which I would continue living on Christopher Street with Sonny Boy here, and Francis would go in his merry way, and it all worked out okay, except for one small thing: money.
Oh, money.
Money makes the world go round. Well, of course, now I'm a newly divorced woman with a young son, and Francis did his best, but that wasn't going to cut it.
Right.
And at the time, of course, I'm gay, which made it interesting. I had a lady friend at the time who was also in similar circumstances. She also needed to supplement the alimony.
Right.
Now, my friend Marilyn, she's an interesting lady. She's an ex-school teacher and a sculptress, and she had 2 kids. And we decided we had to make money in our spare time, of which we did not have too much. And I don't know if you ladies remember the I Love Lucy series.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Lucy and Ethel, her name was Ethel.
Yeah, right? Ethel.
When they went to try to make money, and they went to work.
At the chocolate factory?
So I was the Lucy character, and Marilyn was Wilma. And we were going to try to find ways that we could earn money in our spare time. Not too many things. I did a lot of stupid things. I handed out circulars in the street. We did a lot of dopey things. But it was also the time when punk was coming. And my friend is a sculptress, and she used to make little things. And she, by accident almost, put 2 alligator clamps on a chain. And it was supposed to be punk jewelry.
Oh, yeah.
And, the time with the razor blades in the ears and all that shit. So she had all these junky, funky things, and she had the balls to say, I'm going to sell them to Macy's. I said, I'm not coming up with you. I'm too embarrassed. I'll wait in the car. God damn it, she went up there, and the people at Macy's bought a couple of things. They said for display.
Okay.
Like they wanted to make funky, punky window display. So they bought 12 of these things on it. She came out. And we were all excited. We sold to Macy's.
Yeah, that's so cool.
So we're sitting on 34th Street in Marilyn's car, and she said to me, now what? And I said, let's go to the pleasure chest. They sell things, chain and chrome. Maybe they'll buy some. So we tootled down to Greenwich Avenue, and we went into the pleasure chest, and the nicest guy behind the counter, he was the manager at the time. He liked all these things. He says, yes, but he said, we don't really sell decorative, functional. We're looking for functional.
Right.
And as he's saying that, he picked the thing up. He says, like these, portable nipple clamps. Why don't I have portable nipple clamps? And he says, give me 12 of these, and we'll see how they go.
Yeah.
And my friend Marilyn, a little old Jewish lady, she said, what is he saying? I said, take the order, I'll explain later. That was right out of my voice.
Oh my God, that is.
So we took the order, we went out, and she said, what is he talking about, nipple clamps? because I knew everything because I'm living on
Right.
Christopher Street.
Exactly.
The leather guys, I knew the handkerchief code,
Yeah.
all that crap. And so I explained, I said, people are into S&M. So she took a shit fit in the street and said, "Oh, no, I can't do that. That's the Holocaust." I said, "No, Marilyn, it isn't the Holocaust. It's fun." So we went from the pleasure chest right to Canal Street and looked for all sorts of things.
Oh,
And I was
smart.
saying, she's a sculptor. She was good with doing things.
Yeah.
And I said, "Just do what I tell you." So she did, and the rest pretty much was history. That's
Wow.
the origin of how Lucy and Ethel got into S&M.
Wow. All right.
She
So,
didn't have any clue I had, but she did all the design.
oh, cool.
She did this. I told her what to do. That's a pretty hot cover.
That is a pretty hot cover. Can I see these?
Yes, you may.
So, funny story. When I worked my way through college at a sex shop in the Washington D.C. area, and these were my favorite. When anybody wanted nipple clamps, this was my go-to. Was
Yeah,
the
they're
screw tops.
adjustable.
Yeah, they're
Okay,
so.
You're leaving out an important detail here about that.
What?
You're leaving out an important detail about that. The adjustable function.
Yes.
Don't.
Yes. So the pleasure chest sold what we gave them, and they wanted more.
Uh-huh.
But the guy said to me, "Could you possibly make them adjustable?" And
I mean, it's so smart.
he said, "No." I went to Francis, and I said, "You owe me.
Oh.
You owe me," because he's brilliant. He's an engineer. He knew how to do things. So he looked at the alligator clamps with like this, and he says, and he's an Englishman, "Oh, all you have to do is punch a hole, thread it, and put a screw in, and then you can adjust it." And these things I found, they're Luger caps, they're called. They put them on the tripods.
Oh.
And they come in all different sizes.
Oh, interesting.
So we got the little Luger things for the sissy bottoms.
Yeah.
And they have to work their way up to the real McCoy.
Right.
So we had this, and then Francis set us up with the machine where we could put holes.
Oh, right.
Doing
so
this
like
in her living room on Warren
Oh, my
Street.
goodness.
She owned a house. And there was big windows overlooking Warren Street, and there's Marilyn and me making whips
Amazing.
and punching holes in tit clamps.
That's so great. So how many do you think you made? Like, was this became your full time? This is all you made for a while. This was
I would
supporting
drop
you.
Morgan off to school. I'd go to Warren Street, and then I'd come
Make
home
nipple clamps.
and make nipple clamps, and then come home and watch sitcoms
Oh my
with
God, I
the
love
kids. And until I put them to work too, they helped.
You helped make nipple clamps too.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I
So
know
did
friends.
you
And the parents knew.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, what did they do? They helped me take the other screws out and put the screws.
Okay.
Little things that 7-year-olds were able to do.
Of course.
So it was a very strange
Family business.
family business.
So did you expand outside of nipple clamps, or did it? So you made other types like this.
That was
this all
the
things
big
that
one.
you made?
There were other little items.
things?
You see, all of those things came from my head.
Okay. So
Marilyn
all of these were all things that you made.
I invented all of this stuff.
Wow.
And how you see, it wasn't just selling bits of leather and chain. I instructed these men on how to use them.
Oh yeah, you taught
sexually, not just how to make it things.
Right.
What I would say, because I went to lecture to teach guys.
You did?
Yeah.
Where would you teach the lectures?
Yeah, the mine shaft and
okay.
other places.
Okay, the gate.
And I said, "Look, fellas, you're using an adjustable nipple clamp. Are you paying attention to my wonderful explanation?" I would say, "What you do, you don't make it tight and then loosen it.
Right.
You make it loose and then you tighten it."
Exactly.
Okay. I said, the other way, it's not erotic.
Right.
And I had to babysit them. What gorgeous men. what beautiful, wonderful guys they were. The Leathermen. They're sexy,
Oh,
hot,
yeah.
good looking, and nice and smart.
Yeah.
And they played and we played, tops, bottoms, all of us. But I would invent, I said, then what you do, you hang two things here, and we go to
Oh.
the fisherman's store where they sell sporting events, and we will get lead weights.
Yeah.
And Marilyn will arrange it so that you can get a couple of them and weight it down until they're really heavy.
Right.
And then you can't bend up. I mean, stand up when you bend over, but that's all part of the play.
Well, that's part of the fun.
So-
Yeah.
And there was a lot of fun things.
That's great.
And these guys were wonderful, as I said, nice men.
Yeah.
And I mean, other little ideas came to me. We didn't hold back.
Like here's an example. This is an example here.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow.
Marilyn
that's
did the
exciting.
drawing, but I told her what to do.
I'm the super suck lord. This is my mother. And now you understand, if you know who I am, why it turned out the way I did. Just a couple of supplemental things.
fault.
Before we turn the mic back over,
It's all my fucking
I want to emphasize that up until this point, the nipple clamps that were commercially available were sort of fly-by-night affairs. They were just like hastily made by sort of disreputable or just sort of crap. Like it would be like literally like a pair of clothespins spray painted black with a leather thong stapled to it. This was like the first introduction of like quality into it. Like this is the first like brand and the first time that the set screw was ever invented. Up until this point, they had one speed. This innovation was created by my mother and my father, and that every nipple clamp that you ever buy now commercially in any store anywhere, no matter the quality, is because of this creation. In fact, there was an attempt to patent this.
I was just going to ask that.
which they couldn't do because it's not a new inventage. It's considered an assemblage. So it's like you can't just put things together. You have to create an entirely new mechanism.
Okay.
So there were plenty of competitors, and maybe people used to rip this off all the time.
No, what happened? We did have the market to ourselves because we did it. We went for it, and it was very hard for anybody else to keep up with us. So they just bought from us. We weren't greedy. We kept it reasonable. So it was cheaper for the other stores. Just buy from us than set up a whole little place. Although one place on Hudson Street, the underground, she tried to do it, but it cost too much money to get somebody to do it rather than just buy it wholesale from us. So we did not really have too much competition until there were these fellows someplace upstate in New England. They were going to do it. They were going to make nipple clamps. And Marilyn got all crazy and said, oh, they're going to undercut us. And I said, no, they won't. Because they were stupid and they didn't know how to do this right. So they were going literally to copy these and sell them for less. That was their big idea.
Okay.
And I found out about it, and we started a campaign. Because we advertised in Drummer Magazine, which was the beautiful magazine for the leather guys.
Okay.
And we had our ads in, and they knew. They sent for mail order stuff. So I advertised, because I knew what they were going to copy us. Daddy's thick clamps, and I come out with the cheaper line, Daddy's Boy. They were smaller, but they were on the set. So
Okay.
Daddy and Daddy's Boy,
Okay.
tit clamps, 2 for the price of 1.5. They couldn't come up with.
To build on that, I remember a couple of slogans that you used to use. Nobody does it better. The Rolls Royce of tit clamps, I believe.
What was that?
The
I
Rolls
remember
Royce of
nobody
tit
does
clamps.
it better.
The
What?
Rolls Royce of tit clamps. I don't have the Drummer magazines here,
Oh yeah.
But that was one of the slogans. This is another example of this is a zine called Man to Man, which I guess you advertised in. It's there's an ad in the back. Um, uh, this is just all erotic stories, gay leather erotic stories, all sports themes, cowboy themes, army themes, and in the back there's a small ad, adjustable alligator tit clamps, the ultimate refinement. Let's just read a little bit of the copy here. With a simple turn of the screw, these alligator clamps can be set and reset to any degree of severity desired. This item single-handedly provides sensations ranging from teeth just touching to love bite to unrestrained. Full pressure alligator chaw. This brand new tit toy with all chrome alligators on 12-inch chrome chain. Nobody does it better. Patent
Of
pending.
course, I wrote the
Yeah,
copy.
right. Wholesale increase welcome. And the order is to R. Phillips.
R. Phillips.
I recall you didn't. The fact that you were a woman was not known to most people, to the customers. Is that true?
I didn't get
I
that.
said your customers didn't know immediately that you were
No,
a woman.
I was R. Phillips, and they would do that. And one guy asked me, "What does the R stand for?" And I told him, I said, "Well, I want to keep it hot." I said, Ripper Phillips. After a while, they knew me. I said, "You're looking for Arnold Schwarzenegger, you're going to get Lucille Ball." Okay. But they thought they're the nicest guys. They loved the idea
Yeah.
that, Marilyn and I were women doing this. And like I said, I used to go and talk to them. And I went to the mine shaft. They were having a party. And they said, "Can you give us some new samples?" And I said, "Of course." So and I'm walking, and there's these beautiful men in leather harnesses hanging from walls.
Amazing.
As I'm walking down, and they would say, "Hi, Rosie."
Oh.
And I knew who they were. And I lectured on how to play with it. They weren't turned off at all by the fact that we were women. I got rides on motorcycles.
That's great.
When people saw me with these humpy men, God only knows them. My mother made the sign of the cross. One guy came to the house to consult. My mother's in the kitchen making sauce like an Italian grandmother should be doing. And he came in. This guy, my mother looked at him, big guy with the harness with the thing. And he said, "Oh, that smells good." And I said, "Yeah, it does." And as he left, my mother made this.
Oh my goodness.
And she laid all worked out. My mother helped.
She helped with the business?
Yeah, she knew what was going on.
Okay.
Yeah, but
That's
it was
great.
so that was the story. We did very well.
How long did you make them?
Say to the end of the 70s. It must have been 5-6 years. And then the sad thing happened.
What happened?
AIDS.
Oh, right.
Sex isn't fun anymore.
Right.
And Marilyn and I broke up. I left her the business. She bought me out because she couldn't continue. But it was basically the world had changed.
Right.
And Christopher Street changed. And a lot of these men were lost. And it was another story. But that is the 70s.
I think it went to at least 1984, something to that effect. I remember when you guys broke up. It was the early 80s. It went to probably 84, something like that.
Yes.
But all good things must come to an end. I would like to fill in a couple extra gaps. Okay. Well, just the idea of running a business like this, when essentially you only really have one product. So the idea would be, how do you sell this thing again and again and again? And my mother was not necessarily the technical person. She was more, like you're saying, the idea person. And in order
I was the lazy idea person.
But it's not.
I sat there, thought it up, and Marilyn had to do it.
This is what you left out. I mean, it's like you're just trying to figure out how many different ways can you sell this, and like you have to give them a reason as to why they're buying it again, and the reason is in how you use it. And the most brilliant one was the one called the executive, which was, you want to tell it or do you want me to tell it?
Go ahead, tell.
It was basically a smaller version of this that you could wear underneath like a dress shirt, with the idea being is
You
a lot
could
of,
wear it to work.
people that were into this lifestyle at the time, a lot of people were closeted.
Right.
You didn't advertise this at your job. A lot of these guys had straight white collar jobs. So there was a particular type of nipple clamp that was designed so you could wear it under your dress shirt at work. So even though you're performing heteronormativity in your straight job, you still underneath it are still sort of like
And
living your truth underneath the shirt. But that's the idea that like the it said fantasy and function, and like your girl Marilyn was about the function and you were about the fantasy.
I put those words together, fantasy and
You were
function.
good with the words, and also you're forgetting as you there's one more tail before we look at the stuff.
Okay.
When you asked about other products, you forgot the anal riveter, which is
Bend over, Morgan. We're going to demonstrate. Morgan.
I haven't seen these before.
and
I've seen different types of those.
that.
Tell me about what you're holding.
About this?
Yes.
Well, can't make tit clamps all the time. Sometimes you have to throw a little something in the pot to keep it interesting. We made whips of different materials and all that. And somewhere along the line, I saw one of these things, but it's a bottle stopper. It has two cuts in it.
It looks like a cork.
It is a cork.
Looks like a
It's
bunch of corks.
Actually, it is to stopping chemicals in laboratories, because we made them black. And what the function is, you have a good friend, okay, and he bends over. This can be used on straight men too. I'll give you a tip. And of course, you insert it nicely with lube or something, one at a time, one at a time. You see how much the bitch can take, And of course, I could take quite a bit. This is why it's so long. But this is almost a joke to have it this way. They usually it was about that, half this. But these guys like it. They're into fast play.
Of course.
So, but the trick is not putting it in. It's the timing of when you pull it out. And for straight women too, if the man's on top of you, at the moment you feel he's going to ejaculate, you give this a yank, and see the thing is, it comes out in bits, bumps. It's not a smooth ride, and it intensifies the male's ejaculation. In other words, Asian women know this trick. And it is, they say, only do it on special occasions, because they get too used to it, and then nothing else is as good.
Okay.
Oh, I have the copy from the catalog, and then after that, you're going to tell us why you discontinued that item. Okay. Number 38, the anal riveter. 12 tapered inches of 11 separate rubber plugs strung on a leather thong. Here's the illustration done by Marilyn. This device, an exceptionally flexible butt stuffer, can be even worn while doing yoga. The anal riveter can be inserted as follows:
I'm a sick boy.
Each plug, while secure on the thong, can be separated from the rest and crammed individually up the ass. A push-pull motion is suggested. Push a plug in and pull simultaneously on the thong. Finally, ... When extracted at whatever rate of speed, it provides a very choppy ride. Please specify size, 12 inches or 18 inches. But this was discontinued for reasons.
What were those reasons?
Oh, you mean when it broke?
You got a return. Someone sent
Nobody ever returned any of our stuff. But one man, and he was very nice about it, he said he used this and the leather thong broke in action. And he said, can you send me another one? I said, well, we didn't lose him entirely. So I sent him another one. I sent him it was the leather was not fresh.
Right.
Because we used to buy and things. But And I explained to him how he could have made that fun. You know, you just extract it manually. I'm sure you know how to do that. But that was it. What about the time you ran around in the street waving it? How old were you?
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
She had a son who was a little older than me in Brooklyn Heights, so when they'd be inside work, we'd be playing outside, and it was like kind of like not there was a kind of a rough area at the time, and there was these kids would come over from the other street and bully us and tease us, and we were little mama's boys, we know how to stand up for ourselves, and they kept coming in bothering us like, Mama, these guys are bothering us, and she's like, tell me when they come back, so they came back as they did, and they were teasing us and bothering us. There was nothing really, little kids, but we were scared of them. And she comes running out of the house with one of these fucking rubber thongs, swinging this whip and just knocking everything down and fucking yelling, "You motherfuckers!" and smashing. That didn't hit them or anything, but came raging out of the house with this fucking. And they never fucking came back. They never came back. I mean, I never learned how to fight my own battles, but.
That was his childhood. See, so it's not his fault.
Also, want to show we have this. This is another item.
Oh, that is glorious.
And it's weird because we just found this shirt and this anal riveter in the house like 3 days ago.
Going through garbage.
Really?
Just buried under.
We were helping. I have to move some shit in there, so I was like helping throw out some of her shit to make room for my shit. And we found a box with the riveter and the shirt, and this catalog and these ads, the tit toys flyer.
You have to show my award.
Oh yeah.
You won an award?
Yes.
Let me see the award. Let's see. Tell me about getting this award. This is the Chicago Hellfire Club?
Yes. They were, at the time, clubs and groups, and they used to have all over the country gather at a certain location, rent a place, and the Leathermen were there, and they would act out all their fantasies. The policeman, the guy who wants to get raped by the policeman, everything. And one of them was friendly with me, and he said, "Can you send us some samples to play with?" So Marilyn and I, of course, we sent this tremendous box of all different kinds with love to Chicago Hellfire Inferno. So they obviously used them, and in appreciation, they sent me my nice award, which hangs on the wall.
It still hangs on your wall?
Requires explanation. And that's the explanation.
Did you ever visit the Chicago Hellfire Club?
No, they would go from. No, I went to in the New York places, but not. Oh, I lectured in lots of places on how to do things.
Where did you lecture? Like where did you do like a lecture circuit or?
No, every so often they would say, "We're going to be doing this. You want to come?" It was all very casual.
Detail that I remember. There was some difficulties too with some of the suppliers of this stuff because these are not the clamps and the chains were not created for this function. These are for like electrical stuff, right? And she would buy them wholesale from these various companies to use, and some distributor found out what you were using these for and cut you off, as if I recall correctly.
Can you tell me about that?
Yes. Now, my friend here, who is avoiding this discussion, which he heard for the 50th time, is a chemist and works with tubings and things. And she said to me at that time before we were together, she said, "You want to look at the catalog and see if there's anything." What am I talking about?
You got.
Oh yes, the nipple grippers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So they were. How could I explain them? They're in there if you want to find them. They're to cut off the tubing.
Okay.
Yep. And we bought these from somebody who thought that we were using them for legitimate purposes. And they were called the nipple grippers, as I invented the name. And at some point, he found out what we were doing and refused to sell them to us anymore. But
the nipple grippers.
So we had Francis's friend buy them for us,
I see.
Mario. And then he would order them and we'd pay for them, and we got around that little restriction. So
So what?
this is what we did. Any questions, lady?
So what? Okay, so tell me, when they found out that you were using the electrical equipment for nipple grippers, they didn't like that you were using it
No,
for.
it's like Sodom and Gomorrah. And it was horrible. They're using our product for this vile purpose, and they wouldn't sell them to us anymore. So as I was reminding Morgan, his father had a friend who had a business, and I told Mario, give you the money, you order it, and then give it back.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, give me a break. It's so fucking stupid.
That is so stupid.
They
Who cares
can't
what you're
figure
using
this
them
out.
for?
So, anyways, it was an interesting experience in my life, and I wouldn't have missed a day of it.
That's amazing. I love this story.
Okay,
I
well,
love the family business.
a family business.
So
The family that plays together stays together.
Did me a lot of good.
It
Did it?
was. You liked
Tell
it.
me about what good it did for you. I just want to hear how it was.
I mean, I guess I was like between like 11 and 14 when this was happening, and I helped out.
Yeah.
There was a child labor involved. I cut chain and would thread the screws. We'd have all the nipple clamps laid out,
Yeah.
and you would have to dip the screw in a little bit of petroleum jelly to lubricate it to screw it in. And I guess I knew this was going to equal more Star Wars figures for me, so I did it. But I just like learned about cottage industries and small businesses, and my own toy industry, my own toy business kind of followed the same, where I just bought shit on Canal Street. I mean, the Canal Street isn't like it was then, when you could just go down there and just buy all these findings and bits of surplus. So it was just like learned how to just like make things with things in my environment and sell them. And as long as I spun enough bullshit around it, people would buy it. But also just like growing up around all this pornography and all this like, and just learning or just coming to not perceive the taboos or the shame around, any sort of sexual proclivities. Or I mean, this was some unusual stuff considering. And I didn't learn any stigmas around this stuff, and I think it just served me better as an adult to just see this stuff as kind of fun and normal. And to be exposed to different stuff. We weren't into it personally.
Wait.
I hate this shit.
Morgan,
sensitive
how old
tits.
are you now?
I'm old enough to know
you
better.
were like 14. I don't know how old. Now, Morgan grew up on Christopher Street. He knew everything. And one day he came with his friends and he said, I'm going to go get my ear pierced. I said, go get your ear pierced. Like, I can't. Go get. And then I realized he did not know.
Yes, I did.
And I'm yelling down the hallway, don't get pierced on the right-hand side. Because that means you are a bottom.
Okay.
I said, if you're going to get pierced, make the piercing be on the left. Carry all your junk on the left-hand side. Otherwise,
I was like, thanks, Ma.
You're going to find yourself.
But that was a normal thing,
unwanted attention.
Right, but I mean, it wasn't like the fact that my mom knew about this stuff to begin with, and it was normal. I think just helped me grow up with like a reasonably healthy attitude towards sex. And just being very open-minded. And even if something isn't my thing, not to kink shame and all that stuff. And just like, I mean, I met a lot of these guys. They were really nice. I mean, I remember, with a lot of interesting experiences. I remember during Halloween, during like in the 70s, 80s, after the Halloween parade used to go through the village, and instead of going down 6th Avenue, used to start at West Beth and go up West 4th Street to Washington Square Park. And then at midnight, they would have the gay parade. So like a lot of, there would be like another Halloween parade for gay guys. And this was also, unfortunately, the time of, I hate to use the word, fag bashing was like a term. Like a lot of these guys would come from, macho assholes would come from Long Island and New Jersey, all these fucking queeros, and used to come and used to like find queer guys and beat them up. And I remember one time we came on Halloween, we came home from trick-or-treating, and there was this guy hiding in our vestibule with his face all bloody, literally wearing a fairy costume, and his face was all bloodied and he was crying, and there was no cell phones. So, we took him upstairs and washed him and made sure he called his people and got home. But, just to grow up and see that, and also see, the care that my, mother extended to these, to somebody like that, it was just like, I saw both sides of it. I saw like the permissible and the open and the accepting side, and then we also saw a little bit of, the sort of violence that was directed at these people. So, this formed my sort of my political views in certain ways, and and that's that. And then it ended, and life got more boring, and there was no more porn in the house, and I had to get my own porn.
Growing up wild in the West Village, and it all turned out very interesting.
There's something really beautiful about that, like the compassion and the growing up with this open, compassionate view of sexuality and humans and people, and we should all exactly. It's you're very lucky. Oh yeah,
this is a recent creation of my own.
Oh my god, this is amazing. Check that out. That is so cool.
You're going to sell those.
Wow, you're going to. So where do you sell these?
I sell those online. I mean, that's what I wound up doing. I became like an action figure guy, and I, a lot, and my whole thing is because everything sort of blends together, like, because when this was going on, it was also the Star Wars era, so it's like they'd be making nipple clamps over here, and me and her son would be playing with the Star Wars toys right in the next room, and it all just blends together. So when I became a toy designer, later in life, my intention was to sort of make subject matter that was not normal for a regular toy, and I've just borrowed from my own lore and the own family mythology, and just made the tit twitcher action figure.
I mean, this is such a beautiful homage.
It was a huge influence on, and that's just the imagery from the catalog. I mean, it was a huge influence on my worldview and my values, so I figured, like, why not try to package it and sell it?
That's so cool. And you made this guy's cock gigantic.
It's fantasy.
You see, he has no head.
Doesn't need it.
No face, not necessary.
It's because you have made him an object. He's not even human. He has been deliciously.
He doesn't have arms either.
Yeah, we don't need his arms. We just need his
giant cock.
And go to work. But he has been totally objectified and made into a thing, which is people like that. Wanted. People like that.
Yeah.
To be a thing sometimes that other people do things too. It's some people find that erotic. Not me.
Definitely.
Well, it's just also interesting because aspects of this, I feel, find their ways into all kinds of human interactions, that sometimes aren't even specifically sexual, but even when they are, like this is delving into deep subconscious human stuff, and like maybe this is an extreme expression of it. It's like a highly concentrated and very deliberate form, but even in the sort of even heteronormative scenarios, like knowing a little bit about this kind of stuff, helps your sort of sexual vocabulary when you're having a relationship with somebody, and it makes it more fun because everybody's got that side to them, and sometimes they don't know it because this stuff is presented itself as very extreme, and people think, oh, that's not for me, but it kind of is on certain levels if you know where to look. And it's just good to be versed in this stuff, just because it tells you a lot about the human condition writ large.
And if you have a new partner and they
are
scared to bring it up, then you're not judgmental about it. You don't shame them.
You got two for the price of one, and that's and life is good.
That's amazing.
Okay.
Thank you so much for telling me your story.
It worked?
Oh my gosh, you're brilliant. I love that.
I
love it. You're brilliant.
Yes.
I love
Keep it coming. Keep it coming.
Thank you so much for sharing your story.
Oh,
it really means a lot to me.
It's fun.
And for you to share your story about being her son and growing up with making nipple clamps as a child.
It's all
very
my
special.
fault. It's all my fault.
I think you did good. It seems like you did good.
They did good. Okay,
thank you so much.
My pleasure. I have been responsible for more male orgasms than countless women walking around the street here. More men have gotten off on my ideas than you could possibly imagine. I'm like the sex goddess.
That is something to be proud of, for sure. That is.
It's not.
When you think about all these guys that got off on playing with my ideas, I rule.
That's
okay.
amazing.
It can't get better than that, but it will.
That's amazing. Well done.
Okay. So, are you doing this?
Yeah.
I should go.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
I'm going to let it rip.
We're rolling. Let it rip.
You, you just sit there and let your mother roll. You started this.